homie said he booming in the back blocks. Jake's caught him slipping, knew he had it in his back pocket. Life's crazy, the judge, life is crazy. Fuck your head up in no type of ways. I know his visits, I ain't paid up. Couple dollars, couple brushes, and some prayers up. Till then, man, it's free my niggas, free my niggas, free my niggas, free my niggas, free my niggas till we meet them again. If you innocent or guilty,
no highs. I asked for no highs, and that's what you gave me.
I gotta give it to you anyway, baby. You already know how we do.
Yo, did you bring that defibrillator?
I told you I don't
I keep
need
telling you,
one.
you don't need that, man. This nigga gonna do that one
I
day,
don't
he ain't gonna
need
stop.
no defibrillator, man.
Pump his heart.
This is a regular occurrence. This is what they do.
This
ain't
is
just
what
for
This
me.
is what he do.
No, man.
This is what he
This
do.
is what we do.
Oh, okay, well,
I'm trying to understand.
This is part of the Refuse to Lose show.
He refused to lose and get that up, but he gonna keep
No,
doing it.
that's right.
as long as the man don't pass out, man, I'm just happy
Yeah.
that he's here.
That's right. We here. We here.
We here.
I'm not giving you mouth to mouth, man. I'm telling you that right now.
Yo, hey, yo.
Yeah, I got another one then.
Dang. Oh, another one again.
This nigga
I
here.
don't got my sound effects.
Yo, man, if I gotta do to save your life, brother, it's all good. But just
I
don't do
know
that
that's
shit no
right.
more, man.
I know that's right.
You know what I mean?
Yo, we got a special guest
What's good?
in the building.
Yeah.
Special guest.
Yeah.
We got precision
Precision, man. Come on, you
training.
used all that breath and do all that
Precision.
screaming. You got to get that correct, brother.
Elite
training.
Precision elite training.
Precision elite
Get it
training.
right, man. Come on.
In the building. Heath.
Yeah.
How you doing, sir?
I'm feeling great, man. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New
Yes,
Year.
yes.
my
Happy
brother.
New Year.
Happy New Year,
Blessings,
to you,
blessings.
man. Peace and blessings.
Yes, man.
Good to be here.
Yo,
What up?
let
So-
everybody know
Mhm.
what you doing.
Okay.
Tell them about your program, and tell them about the new event that you got going on. And then on top of that, let them know about that new facility that's on board.
I'm trying to do a lot of things right now, man.
Go ahead, let them all,
He's a
let them
busy
know.
guy.
I'm just trying to be of service.
Hey,
You know what I mean?
That's
I'm
what we
just
need
trying
right
to be
now.
of service, particularly during this time with this pandemic and interaction between each other, between peoples and families, organizations, schools. All of those things are limited things that we took for granted, just like shaking a person's hand or going to hug your family, we can't do anymore. So what I've attempted to do is keep basketball alive in New York as best I can by putting a few showcases and things together on the middle school side, middle school boys, middle school girls, make sure that the environment has been COVID safe and COVID friendly in terms of making sure before anything or anyone comes into any of the facilities that I've been doing these events at, testing has been taken care of, temperature checks are taken care of as soon as they come in. If you are not participating at the time that you're playing, meaning a player or spectators have to have their masks on. And once that particular game is over, then I found resources in the facilities where I can usher people out one way and then usher in a new set of fans for the next game. Okay. So there's really not a lot of interaction between fans. It's capped at a number of 15 people per game. It's spaced out, so everyone still can have some type of semblance of what we know New York City basketball to be.
okay, that's
You know what
proper.
I'm saying? So just trying to do that. Trying to do it on the high school side as well. Been very successful doing that a little bit. With some typical New York City politics. Things that
As always.
as always.
Now, when you say politics, what do you mean by that? You know, a lot of people, we gotta know. People gotta know.
Listen, meaning it appears sometimes maybe everyone doesn't have New York City's kids in the best interest of what's going on right now. In terms of giving kids and programs an opportunity to play somewhere that, again, that's very COVID safe and friendly, they're not really looking to make sure that these programs are still being active and keeping kids engaged, which, as we all know, means kids are no longer on the streets right now. They're doing something that's positive, and without basketball for a lot of these kids, there is no positivity. So just trying to maintain and kind of keep all of that in perspective and keep it rocking.
Right. I understand.
You know what I mean?
Now, you had an event just recently.
Brooklyn.
BK.
BK.
The toughest part of.
A brother that we know, you may not know, but a brother that we know, Eric Hicks, has a gym out there from Game Over.
Okay.
Yeah, called the Star Dome. I think he took it over maybe like 7-8 years ago. He runs a lot of really good programs out of there, and he was gracious enough to allow me to host a middle school boys event. Had 16 teams come out, got 8 games in from 12 to 14. All the games were competitive. I got teams from Brooklyn, teams from Queens, teams from Manhattan, teams from the Bronx, teams from Yonkers come out and participate. All of the games were competitive. Again, all of them COVID safe. It was a great event. Kids had an opportunity to compete. Parents had a chance to come out and kind of, get back to a small sense of normalcy. And it went very well, and we're looking to do it again maybe in 2 weeks on the middle school side. And then do something for the girls, hopefully the beginning of February.
Okay. Now, the people that came out, the kids that came out, the middle school kids, right?
Right, middle school kids from 12 to 14.
Were there any high school coaches there?
No.
Did they creep up in the place?
No, they.
Nobody scout now.
No,
You can't even get a scout.
Not even. No, I wouldn't even ask for a scout to come out.
Gotcha.
But I am also involved in this event called the Lucky City Open Run out in Long Island. At the time we were doing it, that was very, very well received.
Okay.
We had a bunch of PSAO schools, at the time some Catholic schools, private schools participate in it. Some of the better programs in the city became very, very successful. High visibility, I partnered along with Lucky Brandon, I partnered with Baller TV.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
had Baller TV and the big Baller brand come out and support and sponsor what Lucky's movement was and what he brought me into. And again, we are doing anywhere from 10 to 12 games every 2 weekends. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So we're getting all of the bigger names, bunch of guys who are scholarship players, a bunch of programs that are very well known, very well renowned. And again, the whole key to it is just making sure all the games are competitive, making sure they're put together correctly, and most importantly right now, making sure everything is as COVID friendly as possible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? While I'm banging on the table and killing the mic right now.
So how you guys doing with testing? Like, do you test do you guys got to get tested before they play? The testing is done on their own, or you guys provide the testing?
Testing is done on their own before they come. Then temperature checks once they arrive. They have to come with the documentation. The coaching staff, they come in and let everyone know that they are tested 3 days prior to. Sometimes as close as 2 days with rapid testing that we're having now.
Okay.
It makes it a lot more accessible for you to get the test and get the results back in a much faster fashion than when this whole pandemic first initially happened.
Right.
You used to wait like 5-7 days.
Yeah. So now with the rapid testing being so applicable to everyone in every area, like kids can get tested in their area, get the results back in a day or two, present it to their coaching staff, running the test before the event. We go through all the names that's on the roster, make sure everything is in order, and then the last protocol is they get temperature checked before they come in.
Okay. You provide them to get tested after their games too?
No, not after.
Okay, so there's only one game. They're not coming back.
No. It's everything that I've been doing so far has been just a one day event.
One day
right.
event. Gotcha.
So it's not an AAU event where one team comes and they're playing 2 or 3 games.
Right.
They play one game, they participate, they compete, then they go out a separate way.
Okay, that's what's up. That's giving them something to do. They're
Yeah,
not just sitting home doing
absolutely.
nothing, man.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a lot of kids out there thirsting to play ball right now.
And if you think about it, like we just went through a process where they actually took down the backs, the rims outside.
Which
was crazy.
That was crazy.
To make sure no one went in the park.
Yeah. So we've gone from having no rims in the park to people now having a small semblance of being able to go back out and hoop.
That's nuts.
Right, but still, PSAL and Catholic School canceled the season for good causes, obviously. But now that we're at a point where we are moving a little more cautionary, but we're still following protocols.
Right.
Like, we gotta bring New York City basketball back, man. Because the next thing that happens with this is kids become frustrated, and you know where frustration lies too.
Yeah, that means go out to the corner.
Start getting in the shit you ain't supposed to get into.
100%.
Yeah, it means stand on the boat, you know, in
100%.
front of the bodega, pitching.
Like, I'm not trying to, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, but if we can present a scenario where at least you know every other weekend or so, you're gonna be able to compete with your teammates. Guys who you build relationships and you call your brothers through basketball. Like you and I, like you, me and you and DJ. You can't do that if you're not bonding with nobody.
Yeah.
You can't do that like through Zoom meetings. You can't do that through Zoom workouts.
Yeah, that's when you get a ball player locked up, man, can't touch a ball. It's going outside and dribbling and shooting by yourself if you can find a court is one thing, but that competitive, running up and down the court, bang bang,
Right.
you can't do that, man. You lose your rhythm.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, definitely. And the funny thing is, this actually, but the funny thing is, pandemic actually gets the kids to go back to basics. If you really sit down and think about it, because when we was growing up and we couldn't get into the park because nobody was there really, we didn't really want to go by ourselves.
Right.
We did the triple threat in the driveway.
Or the foam shooting on the bed.
Or the foam shooting on the bed.
Shooting on the bed. Everybody.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm
I
saying?
was thinking of that.
Yeah.
So all of this
Yeah.
stuff takes you back to basics.
Basic trainings, yep.
You know
Running
what
up
I'm
them
saying?
steps.
Form
Man.
technique, work on your body,
Yep.
work on your ball handling in the house, going up
Doing
and down
them
the
suicides.
stairs.
Right.
Yeah,
They didn't even do suicides anymore, man.
They do.
But
now.
yeah. Oh yeah.
They're really back to basic. There are a lot of trainers who I'm affiliated with, who are following protocol and going back to the roots and the foundation of basketball. Triple threat, one dribble, two dribble pull-ups, being able to slide your feet, footwork, ladder work. Brothers like Eric Jones, Shane Romley, Todd Cooper upstate, Michael Lancaster, Chris Williams from St. Raymond's. There's a bunch of guys who are doing things to really make sure that when basketball reopens, Mike Smith, our guy, the Coda Foundation, the Coda program.
Yeah. Bud Cash.
Right.
Yeah.
What Muggs is doing.
Marion Cash.
Marion
Right.
Cash, absolutely. A bunch of guys are doing a bunch of things within their programs to keep these kids engaged.
Yeah.
Keep them focused, keep that camaraderie going.
Rasheem Jenkins.
Another brother, Krabby, up in
Krabby,
Mount Vernon, he's
right.
doing some great things. So, like, when I reached out and kind of formulated this in my mind, these are the key guys that I wanted to reach out to.
Right.
Guys who I knew wanted to teach the game of basketball and wanted to continue to mentor young men and make sure that, again, when NYC does open back up fully, that we ready to rock and roll. That guys are in shape, teams are ready to compete in, and we'll figure out everything else as we go.
Do you think the hateration will still go on once it opens up?
Hateration in terms of?
Okay, you have a program.
Right.
I have a program. Oh, he ain't no good. You know they always do it. All the
nonsense.
trainers,
They
you
get the
know what I'm
players
saying?
in.
Oh man, he ain't
Nonsense.
no good.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Now that the COVID is going on and you can't even really get a workout or even, you get a trainer now, is very limited. Do you think people are still going to start hating?
That's never gonna stop.
That ain't never going to stop.
I don't.
We talking to Heath. I'm sorry. Let me turn my.
Yeah, listen, that's almost asking for people to vote with common sense and conscience and not stupidity. And we already saw how that worked out.
Oh, okay. All right.
So you're gonna ask people through afterwards not to revert back to what is their true nature, which is unfortunately not to help their brothers and not to help the culture.
That's
Like basketball is almost like the culture of hip hop.
Yeah.
Like it's
yeah.
all intertwined.
Yeah, it is.
And we ain't come across nobody in the culture of hip hop who wouldn't first take care of themselves before they take care of others. And basketball, in particular in this lane of training, there's gonna be vultures and snakes because there's just always vultures and snakes. You just gotta learn how to navigate around them or sit back in the cut and watch them do what they do, and then you move accordingly. Like a couple of days ago, I put something out on Facebook where I said entrepreneurship 101. Learn to play chess, not checkers. And then rule number 2 was associate yourself with people who are doing better than you.
Right.
Absolutely.
But in order to pull that trick off, one has to be humble. One has to be comfortable with where they are,
Who they are.
be real about their situation, and then be determined to change it.
Right.
And that's being able to face your reality, because a lot of people don't know how to face reality.
How many people can really look in the mirror and be honest with themselves about what's looking back at them?
Exactly.
And that's not me talking from like a higher mountain. That's me from having to look in the mirror and not be happy with what I saw. You know what I'm saying?
That's how you make yourself better.
Yeah, and
It's the
then-
same thing when you on a job. You know, they tell you what don't break you make you stronger. You know, you learn from your mistakes. That's what you do. You can't do those things if you're not humble. You know what I'm saying? That's like narcissistic behavior.
100%.
You know what I mean? So you gotta have that mentality.
But I think that's the characteristic for entrepreneurship. Like in order to be an entrepreneur, there has to be a certain hustle in you that doesn't believe that you can fail.
Exactly.
Like no matter what's going on
I'm gonna get this.
at that particular time, like I'm gonna go at this so hard that I have to be successful. I wanted it to be amongst us. So when this is looked back at in a couple of years and they reflect and say, well, who was at the forefront of keeping the NYC basketball alive? If my name and my brand is happened to be mentioned, they're gonna have to mention all of the black businesses that partner with me.
Absolutely.
They're gonna have to mention Raw Truth Radio. They're gonna have to mention Grime Music. They're gonna have to mention Bad Boy. They're gonna have to mention Precision League Training. And they're gonna have to say that we invested back into our young people and we kept basketball alive and we kept it up on top and to where it needed to be once all this was over.
Yeah.
Let everybody know where they can find you.
Hell no, I ain't telling nobody. Once black people figure out where you're at and you're doing well, then they start popping up in your neighborhood.
There you
Hell
go.
no, I ain't
That's them lost cousins.
Everybody, all y'all need to know is I'm upstate and I'm close enough to touch you if you act up. But you know, I'm blessed. Like the Lord has blessed me. He's brought me back into fashion apparel. I'm dealing with a couple of clothing lines that I'm very excited about. Actually, one of the clothing lines is from a mutual friend of ours. He came back to me, my man Rod Gardner. He used to play ball on 161st Street with Keith says Rod Gardner. He used to be with Light Eyed Bill. I used to jump from Bronx Community.
Yes.
He has a great clothing line for kids called Coca Kids.
Nice.
COCA, and the acronym is Children of Choice Apparel.
Awesome.
Nice.
And then he has another line called G-Coat, GKOAT. I can't remember what the acronym is.
Is he on Instagram or Facebook?
He's on Instagram, he's on Facebook.
So tell everybody your Facebook and your Instagram so they can get in touch with you and they can DM you and get the information about other people.
Listen, if you're in need of anything, you can find me on Facebook. Heath Miller is a Facebook. Precision Elite Training is also on Facebook. I also have a Instagram page, Heath Miller Entrepreneur. For anyone who is looking to do anything in terms of fashion apparel, in terms of music, in terms of athletics. My wife and I also, we just opened up a consulting agency for credit solution and credit restoration that we're partnering with black-owned banks and black-owned businesses to help our people get their credit back in order, to put them in a position to own things and not continually have to lease and rent. So I'm super proud of my wife for doing that.
That's a big move, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's real big.
The name of that is Precision Elite Consulting.
Also on all platforms?
Also will be on all platforms, actually, in a week. She'll
There
be
you
up
go.
and running in a week, so shout out to my wife. She's put a lot of work into it in terms of certification and learning all of the tricks of the trade that are not really told to us, that we find out after we've lost several thousands of dollars.
Right.
Congratulations. I didn't learn a lot of those valuable things that you're talking about until I became like in my 30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by then I had to start fixing. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just
Yeah,
really starting to get on track.
I'll take
now,
it back to even further than that. Like, I got my first credit card in college, man, when everybody was
Yeah.
outside giving the credit cards
Oh,
away.
yeah.
And they give you the American Express
Yeah,
card. Like, yo, that
free.
18%, don't worry about that. Like, run that up.
Timberlands in a bubble.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Listen,
That's why
had
you was
about
fly
four
back
that
Yeah,
then.
no, I was dumb fly.
Right,
That
you was-
that debt in the back of that pocket
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, that's,
And it took me like 15 years to get that right.
Yeah.
Because when you're young, you just think like, yo, if I don't pay it and they forget about me, I'll forget about them.
Right,
Fam, no. The credit restoration agencies, they don't play no games.
They
with
don't
you.
Right, right.
And
Yo,
they excited
when
to.
it comes to finances, man, we at least 15, 20 years behind the curve.
But because again, we don't share information with one another because
Nah.
we don't trust one another.
Exactly. Not only that, but just think about it. Just what Butch said. He's like, yo, I learned about finances when I was 30. There's kids that are being taught this at 10, 15 years old. When they getting out of high school, they know how to start a business because their parents is teaching them that.
But you know what? Like you said, we're a little behind, but I'm proud to say when I speak to my brothers, when I do stick my head out for business purposes, and I'm in a forum with my brothers, a lot of my brothers are teaching their children this right now.
Right.
So like our children, our generation will be the first to kind of understand wealth as opposed to getting by day to day.
Yeah.
That's good because when we retire, we have something to retire with.
Listen, you gotta be nice to
yeah.
your kids because
Do
you don't want your
damn
kids to
right.
put you in the old folks home.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you're gonna stay in that house. In that
Listen,
back room.
yeah, you want that back room? Just give
Better
me a
be a good
TV,
boy.
put something in the ashtray, and let's do it. We all right.
Yo,
That's
Heath,
it.
you gonna do you have time to stick around with us?
Man, my brothers always got time to stick around with
All
you.
right, we're gonna go to DJ Next Level Mix.
Next level.
Actually, we're going to the 2 for the Money EP album release party right now.
You gon' ride with us, you ready or what? You gon' ride with us, you ready or what? You gon' ride with us, you ready or what?